One tactic that I think is a good, effective way for a revenue cycle director to sort of eat the elephant one bite at a time, as you say, is to take each denial one at a time and then go reverse engineer what the root cause is. Now, sometimes it's really obvious, but sometimes it's not. So even in the example where you've got a couple locations and 7 different folks on the front line, each of which have slightly different processes. So if I'm reverse engineering a timely filing or eligibility related issue related to non-covered services that weren't disclosed at the time of check-in, or patient payments that should have been collected up front due to co-insurance or predicted deductible responsibility, that's not being done, or maybe it's being done in some places but not other places. If you back out the accounts that are having these denials, and then you find what is the pattern here. Is it a person or an office, for example, or a non-credentialed provider, or is it more related to the insurance company they're servicing? And essentially what you're going to be able to develop is a short checklist that you can put tape on the wall, email out, whatever you want, to the folks sitting in front of the computer doing the work, that say, hey, these are the things that are really the punch list items to avoid denials that you had done the sort of reverse engineering on. So just starting there and walking backwards to where did this begin is the key here. And even if it's literally a laminated sheet of paper that says, don't forget to, Medicare Advantage plans require X, Y, and Z, which Medicare traditional don't forget. And you might refresh that on a monthly basis as you're learning more. And what you're going to be able to do if you're doing this well is you're going to be able to see the impact of the change. Now, not all of your staff are going to respond the same way to this. Some are going to be almost offended that you're micromanaging them and telling them what to do, but you got to come with the data. So Francis, this is something that you always hone in on, is how to have a conversation that isn't a blame-based conversation, especially with folks that, you're a revenue cycle director, you've been there a year, you're talking to folks who've been there 13 years, but you've figured out from the reporting and reverse engineering that they're causing the problem. What would you say to a rev cycle director who needs to go have a challenging conversation? How should they do that?
Well, you definitely want to go at it where they're not going to be defensive right out of the gate. Sometimes they are anyway, because they have been there 20 years, 11 years, and you're the new girl. Some of it's going to be just personal resistance to change. So you want, first of all, to include them in the reason to change the behavior. You got to take the fear factor out. You've got to take the blame out. I'll use the frontline. It's just the easiest. It's that ask the question why 5 times. So you go up there and you say, explain to me why the eligibility on several of these patients, I don't see that little E next to their appointments, and they're coming in 30 minutes. What is the process for you currently for somebody who maybe it was an add-on appointment? What do you do to verify eligibility on the fly? And they may say, well, it's impossible. I can't even leave to go get a coffee break. So I'm not about to step aside to verify eligibility real quick on these add-ons. So then you got to drill down and you ask them, what would be your suggestion? I've had solutions come up from within that says, well, I guess during my lunch hour, I could, I'm covering the front desk during lunch. I would have time to do some of those. But of course, you want to set some parameters on when you do that, because you don't want to do it for today. You want to set aside time for the rolling cycles of how to verify, but take you off the front if that's necessary. Basically, you have to communicate with inclusivity and let them know that you are not trying to change them or change a process that has worked for many years. But then they may not realize that some things that you have in mind will make their life easier. Like I tell you what, if you help us get across the line to a better solution, you will get a full 30-minute lunch. Won't have to do anything. For the prior auths, you need to go to the prior auth agent and say, what is it about your job that makes getting prior auths the first time smoothly in a timely way? And you just get their input. You say to them, what magic wand would you want to wave today if you could, that will make your life easier? And you come at them with some empathy as to what would make their job, what's making their job so hard. It's still going to be difficult no matter what. You have the personalities that is going to resist even the approach of you. So there's not much you can do about that, but you will see the gratefulness as time goes on. I've had employees in my past say, "Oh my gosh, this is so much easier. Sorry, I gave you so much crap about it," but you sometimes have to appreciate the them embracing at a later date.